Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. All right, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome back. Welcome to the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Back in the saddle once again, little week off. Shows presented by Srixon Golf. At Srixon, performance is more than just a number. It's a feeling, one that starts at the forge. Introducing ZXI with iForged, a groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating that's taken Srixon feel to an entirely new level. ZXI irons from Srixon, how forged should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more info and the full lineup of Srixon products. Make sure that you're following us across all of our social media networks. That's the fun thing to do: Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And the YouTube channel, you want to be there. Stuff's happening. Like us, click the notification bell. Make sure you never miss a single episode or anything else we put up there. All righty. Well, we've been off for a week, so somebody could get a little R&R with the fam. So we're going to get on to some things this week. We're going to talk about the CPKC Women's Open that starts this week. We're going to wrap up a long season of the Flagstick.com Cup on the Play Junior Golf Tour. We're going to discuss some of the current continuing weather impacts that may be happening on golf courses across the country. And we're going to talk about the FedEx Cup for a few different reasons. One, because it's happening and they're entering the top 30, and two, because it's happening and they're entering the top 30. And I question whether the top 30 that are there should actually be there. They deserve it. But we'll get to that. So let's get to our front nine so we can start chit-chatting. Presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf is here at Metcalf. Book and pay online, save 10%. Popular game passes, always available, 10, 20s, and 30s. Plus, check out the event series. It's winding down for the year, but there's still some events going on. Lessons are available with their head pro, Nick Search, and enjoy great food at Hickory's always. Visit metcalfgolf.com. Okay, Scotty Mac.
Yes.
Scotty Mac took a tour. He took a drive. He took a drive to the east and to visit the family in
Put on some miles.
And
didn't play any golf. Hey, how'd that come about?
I don't know. What are we clapping for?
We finally got a new stinking mug, for God's sakes.
Look at the beautiful mug that my coffee's in.
All right, I need the story before I spill anything on.
Well, look at. I know I don't want to interrupt the family story, but I had.
Not at all.
I had to do that when it was the most shocking and surprising.
Sure.
So this week, I get a knock at my front door, or my doorbell rings. Of course, the cats scatter because that's what happens when the doorbell goes off. I go to the front door, and there's a lady standing at the front door, and she's got a package for me, and I'm like, "Hello." She says, I couldn't resist. I was in the drive-through at Tim Hortons, and I remembered your podcast, where you said that you would not buy yourself your own mug. That if somebody wanted you to replace the mug, that they were going to have to either a Tim Hortons owner or a loyal listener was going to have to bring me a mug or send me a mug. She said, so I wasn't going to, but she said, I saw this mug, and it was the retro color Tim Hortons. She said, as a fellow Tim Hortons lover, I couldn't resist.
Wow.
I had to get to this mug. I want to guess. Guess who that somebody was.
I don't know. Who was it?
It was none other than Sherry Stanley. Jane Stanley's mother.
Nice.
Very, very good friend for a very long time. Obviously,
That's
Shane
funny.
is a good friend of our family as well, and of Brandon, my son. Just won the Flagstick shootout. So thank you, Sherry.
Yeah,
here it is.
Go.
On air, on the show,
Yay.
the new Tim Hortons mug that will forever replace the faded red mess.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Let's get back to
to the
PEI story.
I'm going to send her a thank you note. Yeah, you know what? It's always great to get home. It's always nice to be back in the island. Drank lots of coffee. Ah ha ha.
Such a funny guy.
Didn't play any golf though. Clubs were with, but 4 days at home, 4 full days. It was old home week.
Yes.
So spent some time at the racetrack. Obviously, it was hot.
The racetrack.
Hot.
Yes.
They actually set a record all time there. It was 47 with the Humidex in Maple Plains, PEI, one day. So you can
Beach weather.
imagine. Yeah, that was the priority, is head out to the beach, spend some time with family. Did drop by some golf courses. I was obviously messaging with our good friends Sam McPhail and Ben King while I was down there, as well as some other PEI golf folks. Had some other friends that were actually on the island at the same time, other people that are golf adjacent, or people that have worked in golf in the past or current work in the golf. It's always the same. Hey, do
Mm-hmm.
you think we'd connect or whatever? It just wasn't going to work. Golf became the only thing that happened. Was we were, I think my daughter was missing golf more than I was. And we were literally in the parking lot at the one beach at Basin Head down in Surrey on the east coast of the island. And we got out our wedges, just hit a few chips around just to get the firm turf. And we'll get back to that later when
The
we talk about
firm turf.
turf.
I love it.
And it was really cool just to see the interaction of the golf ball and how it goes. But anyways, drove by a lot of golf courses, drove by Crowbush, stopped in at Green Gables to have a look in the shop, went by Rollo Bay. I'm trying to think other ones who went Belvedere, a whack of them. So it was, it wasn't void of golf, but just no playing.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was always great to see, and rolled by a bunch of golf courses in Quebec and New Brunswick as well. Talked to a few friends down there, the gang at Gowan Bray, who were hosting the Canadian Junior Boys. Yeah, so unfortunately, but hey, it was good to get down there, and yeah, so and hoping to get back. My mom's 80th birthday, believe it or not,
Oh,
is coming up in October, so
wow. A
that
fall
might
trip.
require a little visit back to the island. So yeah.
Fall
Hey,
trip.
and you know what? Cool thing here. This is my last thing related to the trip, but
Talk about it all you want. I don't care. It's all
golf
good.
adjacent as well. I was going through notes. My grandfather, who was actually born in 1896, passed in 79, but he was a lifelong journalist, as far as journalist of keeping a journal. He was not a newspaper man, but he kept a journal,
Right.
even though he was a farmer most of his life, as did my grandmother as well. My mom has all sorts of notebooks of both of theirs, and I got to read through a lot of them, and it was funny the amount of references to miniature golf. They played a lot of miniature golf back in the
Wow.
day, and the reference in a day in 1969 where they went for a drive down to Brunel,
Okay.
and he made mention in it about the beautiful new big course that was there. So that was the first mention that he'd had in there, and that was obviously the year that Brunel
The big
opened,
course.
the big course, as opposed to going to play miniature golf, which they used to go to a course in Strathgartney Park, and they used to go there all the time. So there was mention of aunts and uncles and going out and playing
That is cool.
miniature golf, which was kind of neat. And yeah, just when there was a particular reference there, I never, obviously at 9, I didn't golf till I was 10, so I didn't even know my grandfather knew anything about golf,
Right.
let alone the fact that he recognized it, and they used to play a lot of miniature golf. So yeah, kind of cool to go back and
Cool.
see all those
Very
sorts of
cool.
things. So yeah, so neat to go back, and there's I think about 55 years of notebooks and everything. So and even some mentions there as well. They lived in New York for a little bit of a time, and in an area called Lou Beach, which is near where Tom Coyne, and if people are listening to this podcast, they'll be familiar with Tom Coyne, who wrote the books a golf course called Ireland and so forth. And he recently bought a golf course in Sullivan County in New York,
Oh,
which is just around the corner from where my grandparents were for a time when they weren't in New York City. So there you go.
look at that. Story time. I like
Enough
it.
about me. But anyways,
Enough
it's
about
pretty
you.
cool. But it was neat to see that reference to Brunel back in 1969 because we think about that now. It's 56 years ago. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
so
is a
pretty
long
cool.
time ago.
Yeah,
Now, and the rest of the trip was good.
all good.
Mom
Yeah,
and dad are good.
all no complaints at all. My mom's still serving up cups of hot water for you anytime you want one. So
Nice, nice.
and yeah, all good. And yeah, things are busy and hopping down there. We'll talk about it a little bit later when we talk about the conditions of courses and stuff like that of how
Right.
the weather's affecting the business. But definitely had some discussions down there. But yeah, family's all good that I ran into and saw, and yeah, good time. So
Awesome.
back at it.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful. I had a chance to um, get out and play
I saw that.
an old
I saw
favorite.
that. An old favorite. I
An
like
old
it.
favorite. It's like I'm not gonna let the cat out of the bag just yet as to what it is that I'm working on, but I'm kind of a little bit of a
I liked
two
what you did.
edge.
So
I like a little bit of a two-headed monster here in that
sure.
I'm trying to circulate um, myself around the region golfing again. I'm trying to get out and at least play a different golf course every Friday.
Yeah.
Right now, uh, Brandon, my son, and I are it's only his really only his day of the week that he can play. He works a lot now,
Right.
so I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to go and see some of these courses that I had been at many years ago,
Yeah.
and shoot some video, which
Hmm.
I will reveal to people at some point or another what's going
Sure.
on.
Yeah.
But right now we're just trying to get out and do some things, and then
Sure. See
we'll
where it goes.
release and reveal what I'm doing at another time. But I had a chance to get up and play Glengarry Golf Club
Hmm.
up in Alexandria,
Yep.
and I haven't been up there. I know that I've been up there. Originally, was up there in 1997.
Hmm.
I know that I had been up there at least one other time since 1997 to play. I'm sure it wasn't that much after 1997, but a lot has changed. Chris Learmonth was the head pro back when I played it in 1990. Like, yeah,
It's a while ago.
yeah.
And I
The
remember we
course is
played for an event. God, it might have been an anniversary event or something that you and I played there. But
might have
yeah.
been. I really have to go back through
Oh yeah,
my
it's a lot of
notes
years.
and
It's a
everything
lot of
because
it's a lot of
years
years,
have
dude.
passed. But um, the course itself doesn't, look a ton different than it did back then.
Sure.
They've flipped the nines around
Hmm.
um, for some interesting reasons.
Remember,
They've
we used to always talk about that golf course being near the rail line and how it would be
Yep.
neat to be one of those golf courses where you have the golf clubs on the train, just hop on and hop off.
Yeah,
Um,
well, the train station's right in the main part of town. Like it's funny
right.
because Brandon was driving up and he GPSed where to go. I mean,
Sure.
obviously I knew where I was going, but he GPSed where to go and it was sending him up Power Dam Road to get to
Oh.
the golf course. So it actually the what it wants to do is it's now taking you around the town
Hmm.
and bringing you in the backside
Sure.
of
So you
the
don't
main
slow
road that you're
down.
in. So when we went in, it started, I'm like, oh, forget your GPS. I said, just go all the way up here, turn left at this, because you come in and you come in that little corner where the train station is and all
Right. Yep.
old buildings and that old part of Alexandria. You got to come in there. Like, I know they
Hmm.
probably don't want the golf course traffic coming in there. That's probably
Sure.
why the GPS is shooting you the other way. But, anyways, so, just, yeah, you're right. Like, it's just, something about that town, something about that golf course. I don't know exactly what it is it's
Appeals.
yeah, it's just something about it. But I always
Yeah.
remember driving in doing delivery. How well conditioned it was.
Hmm.
Now obviously the hot summer months
Mm.
have are taking its toll on golf courses, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And Glengarry doesn't get to escape it, but they've got some projects going on up there to kind of alleviate some of that problem down the road. So
Mm.
definitely look like they're progressing in the right direction. They've made a lot of changes to the clubhouse, the basement area of the clubhouse and stuff. But again.
Cool.
We'll see
It's
all that at
nice.
some point or
It's nice
another.
to see those, when you go to those communities, they're one golf course communities. So, they're sort of the heart of it. If you're going to be
Yeah.
involved with the sport at all, I mean, people will travel and go outside their area to go to other golf courses, but they're a spot that, for an example, they started running their Glengarry Open again a couple years ago. So,
Yeah.
when they share that information, we always tend to share it and stuff like that. And it's cool when, if they can preserve that and persevere and keep growing that business, even though the population might not be growing or anything like that. But it's always neat when you get to those towns and there's that single golf course, and it is the hub for those people that enjoy the game.
Yeah, and they are really proud about that. So they had the trophy for the Alexandria Open right out
Right.
on display of the clubhouse as you're walking in. So because
Yeah.
that was happening the day after we played.
Right.
So it was they're very proud of that championship for
Yeah,
sure.
as they should be. So
Okay. Well, we'll leave that at that, and we
yep.
will get into the CPKC Women's Open,
Yeah.
which begins this week.
Yep.
Not, I mean, it's the Canadian Championship for the LPGA. Always
Mhm.
more exciting when it's in Ottawa, but hey,
Yeah,
can't be in Ottawa every year, right?
no, and the last time it was in Ontario was in 22 when it was in Ottawa, and I don't think I'm going to make it up this week. But Grant Fraser and Chris Stevenson are up there, and sending along some correspondence and photos from up there or whatever. But cool to see it at Mississauga, which Mississauga Golf and Country Club for people that are not familiar. I mean, not only is it a historic club, almost 120 years of history there, but it's hosted men's and women's national championships, a ton of them over the years. Nice mug. And as a result of it, they're now going to be the 8th club to actually host the CPKC Women's Open, the RBC Canadian Open, the Canadian Women's Amateur, and the Canadian Men's Amateur. So that's a slim group to be among, and so it's nice to see that there. And unfortunately, this is one of those golf courses that the Canadian Open, the PGA Tour has passed this golf course by based on length and so forth. But it becomes a perfect venue for the CPKC Women's Open. Just recently it hosted, the World Junior Girls Championship as sort of a tester type event or whatever. So it's still possible. It's a great old golf course. It's still possible for it to host a lot of different events, but nice for them to have the CPKC. And a more remarkable thing that's in the notes here, less than a year ago, this golf course was flooded. It was part of the ones at Credit Valley. A number of them were totally underwater. So the fact that they could get the golf course in the condition to, host the LPGA this week is, kind of remarkable and a nice tribute to their team there for sure.
It's I know. I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, I always think about, I always think about the golf course maintenance. What goes involved in day to day, let alone what's involved when something like this happens. We remember what happened when that sort of windstorm came through and blew out. And we talked to Eric Roos about what was going on at the Hunt Club, and we saw what they had to do out there to get that course back into shape to be able to host a big event.
Right.
So it's extraordinary what has to happen. It's funny because I see it on a daily basis now.
Yeah.
I hear about all the stories. I know Brandon came home yesterday and said that he spent 7 hours in a hole. And I'm just thinking, I'm thinking, I know what he was doing in the hole, but it's just like, you don't think about that when we're golfing. We don't think when we see a hole that was just repaired and looks like it was hardly ever touched.
Yeah, all the work that went into that.
Work went into making sure that repair underground got made and that the grass got put back down on top to the point where we're looking at it going, I think they did something there.
It's not a case of jumping on your ride-on mower and whipping around your lawn.
No, that's the part that they all long to do. Like the guys that work at golf courses, they want to ride the triplexes,
right?
Because that's the relaxing, cutting grass kind of thing. I'm sure that's the go-to job to do, but that's not the job that the majority of them have to do.
If you're fixing broken irrigation or there's so many other things that happen, and I definitely have a full appreciation of it. Spent a couple of years on a grounds crew, and I'll tell you, it quickly chased me into the pro shop. No doubt. And seeing the work that put into it. So it's impressive for superintendents and their teams and volunteers from other clubs and stuff that get together and help out courses like Mississauga and make it whole again.
Well, that's it. Yeah, and I don't mean to get off topic too much, because I know we're going to get into that kind of thing a little bit later, but just because of the fact that a similar thing happened here with the Hunt Club,
right? Exactly, and the women's open, yeah.
So to go through what they have to go through to get the course back into condition. Now, it's not a bomber's golf course, like you said, with the length. It's kind of more of a your. Is it 66, right?
66, which LPGA now for a
That's
major.
Still kind of long-ish.
Yeah, it's kind of become more average on that tour, and that setup is the yardage that they prescribe for it, and obviously it's based on conditions as well heading into the week.
It could play shorter too.
Yeah, it could play shorter. It's probably based on the golf course and what they've done with it. I'm sure they've got it in as prime shape as possible in the photos and things that I've seen, but it's still going to be fairly firm. You're not going to get away from that. No. But yeah, for LPGA now, they want this to be a top event, right? So that's kind of the range you're starting to see, the bigger events and getting towards the majors in there. And obviously this event used to be a major, and it's big for
the Evian in this one.
Yeah, it'd be nice, but money talks. That's part of it. Not that there's not a lot of money on the line this week. I mean, 2.75 million is the purse, and 412,000. But yeah, 66, 61, so almost 70 or 6,700, and it's par 71. So
yeah, which makes a difference too.
Yeah, definitely longer. And as always, this is a key event for Golf Canada. It's a big event for the LPGA. A lot of the players like to come up and be part of this event, although I will say there was definitely some flight issues, especially for a number of caddies. It definitely had a former caddy reach out and say, hey, is there do you know some people that might be interested in caddying on Monday for practice rounds, just because there was delays and
you like got that. Right in your car? And
no, I did not.
I did. The trip, drive back from PEI, get 5 hours of sleep. I'll just drop you guys off, and I'm heading to Mississauga to shag a bag for
a day,
4 hours for a practice round.
Yeah. But they've obviously got a quality field there, and we know kind of who the eyeballs will be on as we get in there. So let's start with there and talk a little bit about some of the top players.
Well, I mean, obviously the big one is Brooke. That's the one that no question, she's the fan favorite. There's a lot of pressure. I mean, maybe she could sit there in a press conference and maybe say she doesn't send. She's been through it enough times now. She's won.
Yes, she's true. Yeah, that helps. And she has that press conference later today.
She doesn't feel the pressure, but lies.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure on her.
You'd think so. I mean, the eyes are always going to be on her, and I think part of the pressure now for this is that she showed some form kind of last week. She's
not quite there.
Top 30. Yeah. So it's like, okay. So I think there might be some internal pressure as well. I mean, she hasn't won in a couple of years. Not to say she hasn't won 13 times, but I mean, and the fan expectation is obviously super high. She's outside the top 50 in the world right now. And so I assume, there's no more pressure than her own pressure on herself.
No question. So, I mean, she's not alone in that situation. I mean, it's been a lot longer for her since she's really been in the form that won her major championships and had her in the top 5 in the world and so on. Like, Court is going through the same kind of thing.
Exactly.
At a different level, because Court is coming off of a
killer season
last year and is still looking for a win.
Yeah.
So
it just shows you how fickle the game can be.
Well,
right?
They're fickle, and in this case with the LPGA, it is so competitive.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Top to bottom. I mean, you hardly ever have the same winner week to week.
Right. Yeah.
The top 10 on the leaderboard seems to always be changing. It's not like I thought. I thought certain players were going to be there all year.
Yeah.
When Rose Zhang came out and I thought
in the first event,
oh, there you go, and then oh my God, I need more coffee.
Like Patty Tana. gonna
Yeah,
mess that one up.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Minji Lee as well.
Minji
I mean,
Lee,
yeah,
the young
Kinothiriko, now
girl
number
that
one. So
just turned pro,
yeah, Lottie Wood
Lottie
is in
Wood.
this field, and but again, you're
She
right.
came out and won her first pro event, and then she
Right.
played well at the Open, the Women's Open Championship, and
Yeah.
then
I
it's
think
like,
I think you hit the nail on the head too. And I mean, there's some obviously some hand wringing and grief over the last few weeks for by a number of Canadians when they're looking at Brooke and the fact that she was finally for the first time in her whole career. So think about that. Since for 10 years or 11 years, she was for the first time she was below 50th in the world. Now think about that. If you're in the 50th world, but here's the thing: as we talked about, this is not just a case of you not performing well. It's a fact that there's so many up and coming players, and there's more coming all the time. And as a result of it, you're fighting for those points with those players as well.
yeah,
So the fact that you can stay anywhere near the top, it makes it even more remarkable for any player to be able to do that. So the fact that she has stayed in that in that level for so
hmm
long is remarkable in itself. So but we'll see what happens this week for her.
well,
So
yeah, and you got Lydia Ko right there as well.
yeah,
These are sort of the fan favorites, as I
of
was saying. There's
course,
a
yeah,
lot of
they'll draw the
Coglin,
crowds.
Minji Lee. Like, there's a lot
Yeah.
of really good players in the field that people will
Hmm.
be watching, of course. And
Sure.
Toronto, Mississauga area is a very heavy Asian community up there.
Yep.
So, and there's a lot of Asian golfers on so
Yes.
there's going to be a lot of people following those players as
Sure.
well, just
Yeah.
from a nationality standpoint.
Yeah,
That's,
especially the Korean golfers as well. I
yes,
mean, there's a lot in the field there. So, and they've obviously been rising late. The Japanese players have been amazing the last little
yeah,
while. They've dominated leaderboards. So, the difficulty, I think, for some of the people, and it's no different in any event, and we'll get to the PGA Tour in the top 30, and there's literally a name in there. I'm like, who's that guy? But it'll be the same for this LPGA event. Fans will be out seeing the players that they know. They might wander out and get a chance to see some of the other players, and I hope they do. I hope they take the time of when they look on the leaderboard, don't just follow the one that everybody is following. And you see that. Remember that, I mean, we expect that obviously in Ottawa when it's Brooke, and the crowds are insane. But then you watch, here's another top 10 player in the world, and, there's nobody out there. So there's a good
yeah,
opportunity if you're a fan. And I mentioned that to someone last night who I was messaging with, and they're taking their daughter for the first time. And I just said, you know what, this is an event where the players are a lot more accessible.
yeah,
So be sure to, try to, pay attention to some of the players that maybe don't have as many fans, and you'd be
exactly, yeah.
surprised how much they might interact even during official tournament play, but certainly during the practice rounds and things like that. So
Yeah, and there is a significant number of Canadians in the field.
yes, 16
16.
now. Yep.
Um, and obviously Elena Sharp,
Hmm.
Elena Sharp playing in her 20th.
Yes.
Kind of taking the reins from Laurie Kane as the seasoned Canadian veteran, continuing to
Yes.
play in
Yeah.
the CPKC Women's Open. She's being inducted into the Golf Ontario Hall of Fame during tournament week, so
Yes.
that's exciting for her.
Yep.
And then, of course, we got some young up and comers, amateurs that
Yeah.
have received exemptions into the event. Aphrodite Deng,
Yep.
the U.S. Girls Junior Champion, and Lauren Kim, who's the top-ranked Canadian amateur. This is a great opportunity for them to kick off their golf careers on a big stage.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, there's three more Canadians made it in on Monday in the Monday qualifier. So again, this is it's a good. You get your toes wet. You get into this
Hmm.
tournament. You get to judge what your game is like. Having been on the bag for a couple of amateurs playing in this tournament before, the greatest thing for them is they probably didn't have the expectation that they're going to make the cut. They're going against a lot of veteran players and professional players, and it's not always easy to play well, especially in the first 36, and you put a lot of pressure. It's maybe your first LPGA event and so forth. But the biggest thing is to be able to identify, what are my actual weaknesses in the game to be able to play at this level.
Yeah, for
You can
sure.
do things well at a junior level or an amateur level, but it's like, okay, what's going to happen when I go against the best players in the world in top conditions and LPG tour conditions? And it's good because again, if they work with that and sort of attitude, and work with their coaches and whatever, and sort of ID kind of where they have to get better in order for them to get that top level, then this is a great opportunity, and they're fortunate to have a championship here in Canada so that they can do that.
So now we did talk about the money that they're going to be playing for, but the ultimate goal of from a community standpoint for events like the CPKC is the charitable side of it. The goal is to raise over 2.5 million, and the primary beneficiary of that charity this year is the Mac Kids, part of the Hamilton Health Sciences Foundation, which supports pediatric cardiac care. This is the huge part of golf that we always we don't talk about as much, but is always a part of all of these professional tour events, whether it's the LPGA, PGA, PGA Tour Americas right here in Ottawa. There's always a community charitable side to it. In this case, it's the Mac Kids program, and I hope that they get to that or close to that $2.8 million goal. I think it'd be great.
And now, that's where Lori Kane is still involved as well. She's an ambassador, and despite the fact that she's not playing, she still is very active and has a big role as an ambassador for CPKC.
Exactly. So now, the feel good story obviously would be for Brooke to win.
Sure, of course.
It would be awesome for the province, awesome for the country again. It would be awesome if one of the Canadian, the young Canadian amateurs made the cut. That'd be great too. But I think that overall, if for them to have a successful event, it's turnout, which ultimately leads to more exposure for the LPGA. Who wins, who loses? I mean, it's great if Brooke wins or some other Canadian wins or finishes close or is in the hunt or whatever. That'd be great. Yeah. But the most important thing is for them to have big turnouts, big crowds, because that brings money in for the charity, but it also brings much needed exposure to the LPGA, which brings much needed sponsor dollars. See, this is how it works in professionals, in professional sport.
And it brings in money.
Right.
And it brings money into Golf Canada, which people have to realize these two major championships for, Golf Canada that are, running in cooperation with the LPGA Tour and the PGA Tour. This supports other programs as well, including all these amateur programs that support these golfers that eventually get to play in these events. So obviously, if you're a tournament director, Claire Welsh is the tournament director, good friend Claire Welsh, which this is her first swing at the helm here. Obviously has lots of experience in her work with the RNA, going back to Golf Ontario days. So I'm hoping for a success for her, and I know she'll do a great job. And what you hope for as well is you get maybe a good story and a recognizable winner that helps them do their marketing for kind of next year. So
exactly. So right before we got
just quickly,
4 minutes. That's right before we go to break. Just also want to announce that the men's Canadian Open received some big news, and that is that RBC, the current title sponsor of the RBC Canadian Open, has signed a new multi-year extension as a title sponsor for both the RBC Canadian Open and the RBC Heritage in the States on the PGA Tour. The exact length of the term and financial terms were not disclosed, but that's big because the biggest problem with the Canadian Open is when you don't have the title sponsor, to get a title sponsor for a national championship like this is hard. There's not we don't have the same kind of corporate infrastructure that the US has to go and find these corporate partners. So when you have a partner like RBC that's been a huge part of the PGA Tour, and particularly the Canadian Open with the RBC Canadian Open, it's important to try to keep them there as long as possible. And this is great news for the tour.
It is, and this has been something we've been uncertain about for a little while. The last couple 2 years they've been signing 1-year extensions because they weren't sure what was happening with the whole lived landscape and TV ratings and so forth. So to have RBC to go back and do a multi-year deal, and we don't know, this could be a 2-year deal, but previously they were signing 6-year deals. I would assume if they were signing a 6-year deal, they would have probably announced that. So I'm assuming it's a 2 or 3-year deal, probably 2. But at least that's in place, and that gives them some security as they look forward to all their events going forward. And as you said, RBC has been a sponsor of this event for Canadian Open since 2008. So I can imagine that Lawrence Applebaum and the entire team at Golf Canada are kind of breathing a sigh of relief that the deal is done. RBC is happy, and they're feeling positive about the situation for the PGA Tour and things going forward. So
beautiful. Okay, well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Play Junior Golf Tour. We're going to talk about the FedEx Cup playoffs, or lack thereof playoffs. But we need to take a break. So you are listening and watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Barter and Scott McLeod. Don't go away. We will be right back.
How do you forge pure? With more pressure, more precision, more focus, more control. ZXI irons. Pure forged. Pure Srixon.
All right. Well, as Scott basks in the glory of my new Tim Hortons mug once again, he's so jealous. So jealous.
No.
Yes, he is.
I would just go buy one. I just go buy one.
No, that's
I don't
not.
beg.
No,
I don't beg people.
Yes, you do.
Beggar.
It's important to know what your loyal listeners feel about you, and if they're willing to go that extra mile to. Are they listening, Scott? That's what we want to. Are they listening to us?
Apparently, yes.
They are listening, so that's a good thing. We have a listener.
There we go.
Okay, so let's get to the back nine. Presented this week by Falcon Ridge Golf Club with 27 holes of fun and challenging golf at great rates. Falcon Ridge Golf Club is a golf experience that you should not miss. Don't forget, Falcon Ridge has built the first TrackMan range facility in Eastern Ontario. TrackMan Range is all about exciting, easy-to-use features that provide the ultimate range experience for every golfer at every level. That's practice games and virtual golf. To book tee times or one of the 10 TrackMan range bays, visit falconridgegolf.ca.
You got it.
All right. So, as we mentioned, we got a couple of things we want to talk about in the back nine. First thing is, upon Scott's return to this
part of the country,
he had a little R&R at home, slept.
Oh yeah,
got up, and head over to the very far away from his house Cataraqui Golf Club. Certainly nowhere near the drive he had to do the day before.
No,
but Cataraqui Golf and Country Club, as always, is the host of the Kevin Dickey Tour Championship on the Play Junior Golf Tour, which also lines up the season-ending Tour Championship for the Flagstick.com trophy that they play for the Race to the Flagstick.com Cup.
Yep.
On the Play Junior Golf Tour, and Scott was there firsthand.
I was.
Take some pictures, watch some golf, shake some hands, pass out some prizes, do whatever's necessary to fly the flag of the sponsor of the tour.
You got it. Over 75 players for the Tour Championship. Nice turnout. Lots of
sunshine
supporters.
This year, I see too.
Sunshine. It wasn't pouring rain. It was a little cool and had some north wind, so it definitely had some challenges kind of early on. But definitely, nowhere near what it was last year in those conditions that were just awful. But yeah, nice to see a full field out there. Lots of supporters too. Parents, guardians, grandparents, aunts, uncles. Kids are excited, really impressed actually by the number of them that reached out afterwards on social media and, said thank you and so forth. And a number of them there as well, very, very grateful for the tour sponsorship, everybody who helped support the tour. And it was a nice culmination. They've had a great season, some fine play. The lowest round of the day was 70. Colton D had, posted a nice round in, like I said, heavy winds. Fun to watch. Always, I go down with Chris on the first tee when the 9-hole groups go out. You're watching these 6-year-olds tee off. That's and fun. You're thinking, yeah, it's fun because you're looking at it and going, this is what is this the start of? What is the start of? And I can remember, one player, for an example, a few years ago being at the Tour Championship, and I think she was 6 at the time, Vanessa Bell, who's still only 11, who also just won the OVGA U15 girls match play. But it's like seeing where they're going to get to. Obviously, we've had players like, Brooke Henderson, lots of other, Canadian stars and stuff come through, various versions of this tour. But yeah, it was a very successful season for them. And it's nice to see that sort of development level golf happening, and players appreciating the fact that they've got to get this experience here. And the cool part is that Chris makes it known to them. It's like, just come out and play, and don't worry about being ready for golf tournament experience or whatever. There's lots of people there to help you. You're going to shoot some high scores or whatever, but it's getting the experience that's there. It's seeing the kids that, they're marking scores, they're checking with each other, they're signing, they're checking in at the scoring table. And Chris as a school teacher, it puts that sort of emphasis on it, that it's a learning environment. It's not just a competing environment. And as a result of it, it's made for a great incubator, and yeah, some good play as well. Not all the players were there for the race. The one player, I guess, Drew Pate, she wasn't available, but most of the other players are there to kind of wrap up the flagstick.com Cup. We have all the results for the tournament proper up on flagstick.com, and I don't know if we want to run through all the names here, but we can recognize the flagstick.com season-long winners if we like.
Sure.
You want me to run through that?
Yeah,
so boys U7, Gibson Klopmaker, we had 2 brothers sets win events, which is kind of cool. His older brother Bentley wasn't there for it, but Gibson was glad to pick up his brother's trophy as well. Nice. Boys U9 winner Bentley Klopmaker, boys U11 Maverick Fowler, girls U13 Vanessa Bell, boys U13 Owen Hull. His brother Finley won the boys U15. Mabe Marshall picked up the win for the girls U15, and Mabe is actually a cousin of Scott Pritchard, who is the executive director for the PGA Tour Americas. So I was happy to pass on that trophy photo to him. He was quite excited to see that. Girls U17 Marley Murray, boys U17 Ryan Kyle, and I'll make mention of this one. He was actually tied with another player. They had both played 7 events. They were both tied 817.5 points for the year, and it came down to a stroke average relative to par as a tiebreaker.
Wow.
Tie it. It was that close. and literally, if there had been one more player or one less player in the field, the point structure would have been different and there wouldn't have been a tie. But to go the entire year to have that is wild. Girls U19 Drew Pate, and then boys U19 Nathan Van Asseldonk. So great play by all the players. Nice to see the kids out there. I was happy to get out to, I think, 4 or 5 events this year, and they have an upcoming event later on this week where they've got a challenge between the Durham Junior Tour and the Play Junior Golf Tour. Cool. And so they're doing that at Smuggler's Glen later this week. So I'm hoping to pop in for that one as well. Cool. So, but yeah, they're very appreciated, especially the parents and stuff as well. And a lot of them said to, pass on thank you to you for your continued support as far as the junior golf. It means a lot to them. And, it just, these events wouldn't happen without supporters, volunteers, and obviously, Chris and his team as well. So.
It's a great tour that he's built. It's great what he's doing, and this is the reason why you continue to see our support pushed more towards the junior golf side of things. Then there's so many things going on for adults, tournaments for adults, and while it's nice to be able to support all these things, we've continued to recognize, especially at at our regional level, which is where our focus continues to be sort of pushed, but with our involvement with the junior intersectionals, with the OVGA as a sponsor of that, and with our involvement at the Play Junior Golf Tour and the race to the flagstick.com and our golf.com Cup and our involvement in that's where we see the growth of the game in its biggest form, is to continue to get more and more and more kids playing the game so that they continue to grow it as they get older. They continue to play. They become adult golfers. They become senior golfers, and they continue to fuel the industry. Not that we don't care about anybody else that's playing golf. Clearly, look at our website, look at the magazines over the years, we do. But we know that this is where the growth of the game. The more we can promote, the more we can push junior golfers to play the game. It's no different than any other sport. I'm involved in hockey. If we're not dealing with the young kids in the U8s, the U9s, the U11s, the U12s, then there isn't going to be a U18. There isn't going to be,
they got to get started.
Yeah, you have to. And if you don't get them started and make it easy, make it affordable, and make it enjoyable for them, not just half done, done right. It's got to be done right. You can't just say you're doing junior golf. You got to do it right to get them interested and excited about it. So hopefully there's more growth on the junior side of things to come. And we'll see.
And a shout out as well to all the golf courses that hosted this year and stepped up. It's nice to see. I've seen a few other golf courses now hosting junior invitationals again, which is kind of nice to see a return, and hopefully some of them maybe link up with the tour as well and make it part of the circuit. So.
Okay, so let's we have two more things we want to talk about. One is about condition of golf courses, and one is the FedEx Cup. Where do you want to start?
Let's go FedEx, because obviously it's on the mind for a lot of people, and I think the the condition stuff is more of a minor conversation. But let's start with the elephant in the room, as it is, and the fact that the Tour Championship is this week in East Lake, and the top 30, as they're certainly identified at this point, are at the Tour Championship, and it seems you have an opinion about this. So let's hear what you got to say.
Okay. I've had an opinion about the FedEx Cup, and I was funny because to mention Scotty Scheffler in another night, there was a press conference done, and he was going on talking about how he feels that this year they've made a big turn in making the playoffs more dramatic and more competitive, and that they, while they may never get it right, that this is probably the closest they've been to having it right. And I listened to the press conference, and the first thing that popped in, and look, again, we talk about this. These are opinions.
Yes, of course.
I have an opinion. You might share my opinion. You might not. Other people might say I'm a lunatic. But I'm telling you right now, the format that they have now is wrong. In my opinion, it's wrong because the best players in the playoffs are not playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The best players are being eliminated, while the players that had more points going into the playoffs are continuing to go, even though they'd essentially be missing cuts. If there was cuts, they'd be missing cuts. They're not playing well enough. So to go back, our top 50 our top 70 we brought into St. Jude, FedEx St. Jude Classic, and that's great. The top 70 got in. Bless me. The top 70 got in, and that's all based on points up until the end of the Wyndham. No problem. You got your top 70. They play the FedEx St. Jude. The top 50 in points move on to the BMW, but the top 50 in the St. Jude don't necessarily move on. That's where I have a problem. It's the playoffs. Once we get to the playoffs, if you're watching any other sporting event, any other sporting playoff format, NASCAR aside, and I might explain why the NASCAR system works similar to this, and it works, whereas this doesn't. But in any other sporting event, if the last place team in each division get in, their success in the playoffs is not predicated on how they did prior to the playoffs. It's predicated only on how they do in the playoffs.
Right.
This should be the same way.
So what you're saying is, it basically, as opposed to them using the 4 times point system or whatever,
which is stupid.
Just go 70, the top 50 that finished that week, move on.
Yep. And if
again,
they want to have a tiebreaker to make
Yeah.
sure that only 50 move on, like set a tiebreaker based on stroke average, or at that point you can have a tiebreaker maybe based on how they played, you know, in the whatever.
And I like that, because I think it puts more emphasis on the actual playoffs itself. It gives a little bit more compelling reasons to actually watch where somebody is not safe. So for an example, you know, we know Rory didn't play in the first event, but he would have to.
He would have played in the first event if he had to play in the first event. So
right, exactly. So, and I mean, I think this is maybe, you know, maybe them trying to be safe and not trying to eliminate their stars or whatever. But I think they're, I agree with you. I like
but that's the problem, Scott. That is the problem. Is there's
trying to make it too safe.
I'm going to use Ricky Fowler as an example because he and Michael Kim, although Michael Kim would have been eliminated. So even though Michael Kim played well at the BMW. Michael Kim would not have made it to the BMW.
Right.
Okay. So that's the point. But Ricky Fowler is the one player in this that really stands out, because not only did Ricky Fowler play well at the Wyndham to get the points necessary to finish in the 70, he then goes out and finishes tied for sixth at the St. Jude top 10. Then he goes and finishes tied for 7th at the BMW, and he's out.
Yeah.
Whereas Sepp Straka, Justin Thomas, Andrew Novak,
didn't
Corey
play well.
Connors, Colin Morikawa, Shane Lowry, Nick Taylor, Sungjae Im, and Chris Gotterup are all in the top 30, and they didn't play as well.
Yeah. And who's Jacob Bridgman? No offense. But...
Look, I know.
I had to Google him.
But Jacob Bridgman is one that he played his way. He made the points, and he's played his way through in where he needs to be.
Yeah, which is perfectly fine. I think there's a separate issue with Fowler. I understand if he had played well in those particular ones, he should advance. I'm not sure he should have been in the first place, and that goes back to him and Spieth receiving sponsors exemptions to get into the signature events that gave them a lot of freebie points. But
that's up to the sponsors, right?
That's a whole other a whole other conversation. But I like what you're saying. I like the cutoff of, as you say, just like rounds in hockey, you got to win to get through, as opposed to just relying on things that you built up from previously. So it's not like it's not like in the first round of playoffs you're like, okay, well, you won a best of 7 series and you won 4 games, so we're going to give you extra credit for something that happened before. You know what I mean?
Well, that's my point. My point is that if a team finishes first overall in their conference in the NHL, and the team that finishes 8th, second wild card, whatever the case may be, sneaks in, like just squeezes into that wild card spot, and they defeat that first place team, that first place team doesn't get to go through on the basis of how many points they had during the regular season. They're out. That's the drama of playoffs. Is like,
right. I get it, and I think it seems like they got rid of the strokes, they got rid of the net situation to kind of equate things, but they haven't gone all the way. Whereas, like, you're right. If you're going to have a cutoff and you're going to make it a playoffs, and it's not about the regular season, and it's not about accumulating 4 times points and then leaning back on stuff that you've accumulated during the year, it's your reward is to get into them. The playoffs.
Then you got to play.
Right, exactly. So no, that's cool. I totally,
well.
I'm with you on that. I'd love to hear some other people's take on that as well. I know for me, I would probably, and I'll say this right now, I have not watched a lot of the playoffs so far. And you're right. If that was the situation, and then it became a little bit more drama, then the cutoff drama becomes more clear. You don't have to sit there and go to the points list to go where are they projected to finish and whatever. Where they're at from a finish standpoint, and if they have to play off for those spots, play off for those spots. There
you go. There's your if you're tied for those top 50, then those guys play off after the tournament is over to see I'd
love to see a 5-for-1 spot playoff.
Well, don't they do it at the US Amateur?
Yeah, true.
There's only one spot because they can only take the top 34 or 60 or 32 or
64. Yeah, 64.
So you can't take 65.
I agree.
So they play off for that final spot. Same thing here. You play off for that final spot. Even if those, and it's not based on points. It's like
no. It's based on how you finish those weeks. Yeah.
Now,
no,
look,
I'm good with it.
Does anybody else not think now the Ricky Fowler aside, how he got in, how he got his points? That's another thing for them to solve. And I've seen some things on that where they say if you want to give them exemptions, fine, but they can't have the points. I don't agree with that. If you play, you get the points. Figure out how to deal with the exemption part of it. So
or maybe there's some limitations on how many exemptions you can get into the signature events.
Yes,
maybe that's the case. So,
yes, because those are extra points. So, but
correct.
Would the Ricky Fowler story not be like a PGA Tour dream? If Ricky Fowler squeaked in and then finished in the top 10, almost the top 5 in the first 2 events, got to the Tour Championship and won, would that not be a great story for the PGA Tour? Instead, you've got these guys that are squeaking at the bottom that aren't even going to be there at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Yeah, the thing is you're getting the players that are hot at the moment, which is what playoffs are about, right? Yes. They're hot at the moment as opposed to because here's the thing. Yes, it's one event in the end, and it's again the top 30, but again it's getting to that 30 where they're sort of protected.
It's supposed to be hard, right?
Should be.
Once you get to the playoffs, it's supposed to be hard to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be hard to win the FedEx Cup.
And these guys are already rewarded, at the 70 stage and the 50 stage. They're already making lots of money, so it's not a case of they're not making money.
Where is it hard for Scotty Scheffler to win this FedEx Cup? Tell me that. It isn't hard for him until he gets to the Tour Championship, and then it's even easier because he's only playing 29 other guys.
Yeah.
So it's easy for him to make it to the final 30.
Yeah.
It's easy for Rory McIlroy to make. Shane Lowry made it to the final 30 and he's played like crap for 2 events.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That's a way to have them play without making it mandatory. Yeah. It's mandatory because they have to do it in order to advance. So
it's the playoffs. It should be mandatory anyway. It should be part of whatever agreement they have with the PGA Tour that if you're supposed to play and then this idea that people are saying, well, if Ricky just played better during the regular season of events, he wouldn't have had to do. It's like, hello, that's what a regular season is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you ups and downs of the regular season. Yeah. You grind. How many guys are grinding at the Wyndham?
No, only the guys that are trying to keep their cards.
The guys that are trying to keep their cards. Side of it, maybe those few little guys that might be sitting around 71, 72, 73.
The other guys are.
The rest of them aren't even there.
They're locked in. I mean, no offense to a couple of guys like our 2 Canadians, for an example. Yeah. When they started the playoffs, they were pretty much locked in to get into the Tour Championship. So they didn't have to really sweat it or grind extra hard or anything like that. I'm sure they did, but okay. On that note, anybody? I mean, do we look beyond Scheffler? What are we?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, I was listening to the interview with Bobby Mack.
Yeah, Bobby Mack, which would be great to see.
I love the guy. I love the fact that the guy. It's like right here. It's on his shoulders. It's right there. There's nothing. He's not hiding anything. He's upset about being heckled. I know that. It's kind of like the Happy Gilmore thing.
Yeah, and that happened at the Canadian Open when he won it. He was getting, he was jeered about it, and he was obviously.
And I don't like that. This is golf. We're supposed to have a little bit better decorum than that. But at the same time. Dude had a 4-shot lead. He blew it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. He didn't play well when he needed to in the final round, and that happens. It's golf.
Sure.
Our game.
Tommy did it.
Yeah, It's happened to Fleetwood, but look at how Fleetwood is. Fleetwood also is.
So do we want to see a McIntyre, Fleetwood, Scheffler, Rory playoff? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm going to go on record now as saying I don't think Scheffler wins.
Okay, cool.
I don't think Scheffler's going to win. I feel like it's going to be somebody not quite. Excuse me.
What if it's Keegan Bradley heading into the Ryder Cup? Huh?
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of storylines that you could go at here.
I think it's gonna be Jacob Bridgman.
It could be. I mean, again, it comes it comes down to form as well, right?
Exactly. It's 30 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be any one of these guys, to be honest with you. Something tells me, I just have this weird feeling that Scheffler he's going to be there, but it's not going to be his week. Because if McIntyre doesn't crap the bed, Scheffler doesn't win last week.
Yeah. I'd say keep an eye on Rosie in that hot putter.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on
because he was
that.
good at St. Jude, but he wasn't so good at the BMW, and it was the putter. And McIntyre was, he was kind of like hitting it sideways on the final round, but his putter saved his bacon.
It'll certainly be a lot more interesting than the last two events, just because it is dependent on how they play, and it is wide open, and it's up to the players to determine where they finish, and they're not leaning on past success as a way to get past the other players. They have to do it this week. And
look out for Sepp Straka. I don't know why Sepp Straka was off last week. I don't know if it was a personal thing, if there was a reason, if he was just taking the week off because he could. I don't know.
Yeah.
If he was just taking the week off because he could and it had nothing to do with any family emergency or anything, well then shame on you. Same as shame on Rory. This is your signature thing. These playoffs are your signature thing. This is what your fans watch all year for, and you take a week off, shame on you. Yeah. I don't care. Shame on you.
Yeah, for the playoffs, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, you definitely
should be playing all three rounds of the playoffs.
And
Can you imagine if Connor McDavid just decided to take a series off?
Sure, why not?
Man, I need some rest. I just could take a series off. All those people paying money to go watch, all those people tuning in on TV, they're going to be ticked.
Yeah.
If you're hurt, different. If you got a family emergency, different. But if you're just taking it off to take it off, shame on you.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a great list. I'd like to see, Ricky in there. I'd like to see some other guys in there, in the hunt there. But I think Keegan Bradley would probably be, outside of Scheffler winning, I think Keegan Bradley winning would probably be the biggest story to come out of it. Because that really does put him in a fair. Now, I'll tell you another thing. If you're Keegan Bradley, do you pick Ricky Fowler? I don't know where Ricky is in the points. I know he's quite a ways down.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm sure he played his way up a little bit, but
I'm sure he did. But I don't know if
given everything that happened.
Yeah,
with Keegan and that whole group with Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth and Captain.
Yeah. I don't know. And I think the other story would be obviously Fleetwood, getting it done.
Oh, man. Can you imagine if Fleetwood's first win on the PGA Tour came at the Tour Championship? That would be so good. I mean, I know who I'm rooting for.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if Fleetwood can't win, then I want to see Scheffler win, because I've said before, when it comes to anything like this, I, in my lifetime, like to see greatness.
Yeah, for sure.
I like to see somebody. I'm fortunate. Unfortunately, I did not get to see Jack play in his prime. I did not see Jack and Arnie in their heyday when they were great. I did get to see Tiger become the Tiger Woods that was the greatest player of all time. Yeah, arguably the greatest player of all time. Mm-hmm. Now you're seeing it again, and I'm glad that I'm around to see greatness.
It's cool, and it's cool for the next generation of golfers.
Yes, because this is the Scheffler is,
it's going to
my
be their
kids, and to the younger kids, Scheffler is their Tiger Woods. They never got to see Tiger, maybe only when he won his last Masters, right? Or when he won the Tour Championship, years ago, without winning the FedEx Cup. They get to see greatness, and that's exciting to see that kind of level of dominance, and Scheffler's a phenomenal talent.
One thing we were not going to see this week at East Lake is dry fairways. Let's a quick mention in that.
Bad. We got some time here. I feel so bad for golf courses right now.
I do,
because
they work so hard too. I mean, I was talking to Jason Boyce at Smugglers a couple weeks ago before I left, and they've done a fabulous job in keeping the golf courses as watered as possible. But you can see the exhaustion in the teams, because they know that if they don't stay ahead of it, they can lose things
quickly,
and they can go sideways very, very quickly. And as a result of it, they're having to put in the extra work. They're having to, they're on emergency service the whole time.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, I will say, it's good for the average golfer to have a golf ball, that's bouncy and so forth. And some like the look and some don't like the look. I don't care. But I get it when it starts to get scary as far as the golf courses, keeping the conditions and being tinder dry. And you look at how it could affect them long term. That's where you sort of, it's the good and the bad. I mean, again, I was speaking to a golf course operator from down east who, is involved in operation of 4 golf courses. And the weather's been fabulous for cart business, for play. They haven't had to cancel a lot of play and things like that. But when it starts to get a little scary as far as their turf conditions are concerned, and they're thinking about long term how it can affect it, that's kind of tough. That's for sure.
But I'll tell you this: what upsets me is, and it's hard sometimes to contain how angry you get, but I heard through conversations about a member at a golf course in this area that was complaining to another person about how crappy the condition of their golf course is. And
go check your front lawn.
Yeah, this is not your public golf. This is obviously and they're trying like people.
Oh my God!
It's not like so hard. And here's the thing: if a golf course doesn't have the water available, this is the thing: when you build a golf course,
you're building it for averages.
You kind of look at it and say, okay, how much water do I need? Where am I going to get the water from? Should you build retention ponds if you're building a golf course now? You better. But what if you can't? What if you don't have the property to
we've seen this before in the area. Remember,
it happens. It's
ponds that get dry. I've seen creeks that are dry. We've seen it over the years or whatever. But again, they're when they're building the golf courses and they're building their business, they're doing it based on what you see on a regular basis, maybe getting to certain stuff, but when you get to extreme stuff, you can't control it.
This is not ordinary people.
No, having no water for 60 days is
I'm fortunate when I look at it, and I'm like you, when you're looking at a golf course condition, you take a look at your own front lawn.
Sure,
and tell me 100%. If it's green.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then imagine trying to deal with
hundreds of acres,
200 to 300 times the size of your lawn.
Yeah.
My yard right here, I have 2-3 sections to my yard. I am built right in the middle of a forest.
Yeah.
I have tons of shade.
Yeah, exactly.
Blocked from the sunlight in so many ways. I have one section of my property that stays primarily green no matter what the sun situation is like. I have another section of my property that's more exposed that I couldn't keep green if I tried.
No.
And I'm on a well, so I'm not watering it every day.
No.
So this is life. This is the golf courses. They have irrigation systems, sure, but if they don't have unlimited access to water,
somebody's got to pay for that.
They're going to get city water. They're going to pump it out of the. You say, "Oh, my golf course is near the Ottawa River." They can just get it from the Ottawa River. Do you honestly think that they're allowed to just pump however much water they want from the Ottawa River onto the golf course? That's not how it works.
No.
They have to. If they want, they have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Or they're limited on the amount of water that they're allowed to bring in. So, you don't know, then zip it.
Yeah. I think there's 2 words they should say to superintendents and their teams. Thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that and again, like I said, seeing the staff and seeing how much work and effort honestly, when someone is critical of it, I'm always saying, like, do you really think they don't want to present the best possible surface for you to play on?
No. They just get up every morning and go whatever.
Yeah,
they get up at 4 o'clock and go to work every morning just so that they can wander around and drink coffee and drive around in the carts.
They take as much pride in it as anyone else, and this goes back to the conversation of players. Everybody being critical of players. Well, they have most of the pressures from themselves. So you can imagine that when you're talking to some of these teams, they don't want to hear it from people. So it's like, So anyways, you know what?
Job is on the line.
Correct.
All the time when they're dealing with this. Just like a GM may be responsible for maintaining membership levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
and making sure that they have members paying. The superintendent's job is to make sure that that golf course is in good shape for the people that are paying money to play it. Do you think that they don't want it to look in good shape or be in good shape? Like, come on.
Unfortunately, the criticism that comes their way comes from people that don't have the knowledge to really provide that level of critique. Let's just say that. So, anyways, so
they do well to just play and zip it.
Yeah, and really, I threw this in there just because I wanted to put a public thank you out there to all the teams for what they've been doing in these conditions, and you got to remember, day to day working in 40-degree heat, it's not easy as well. And I mean, so on top of that, again, hopefully things improve for courses and everything soon, and we get back to some sense of thankfulness or gratefulness for these teams and these courses.
In the meantime, enjoy the fact that you're able to play golf.
Yes,
zip
exactly.
It.
There you go.
Zip.
Is that you're just gonna get a t-shirt? Zip it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a t-shirt. When you think you want to complain about your golf course, zip it.
Yeah, in most cases, it's not really.
Now, if you have a valid complaint about your golf course, that's up to you. If it's
but also make sure you approach that properly.
Yes. Otherwise,
zip it. And all right, good stuff.
All right, we're out. Good rebound show. I like it. Good rebound show. Thanks to all of our sponsors, because we need you. Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and our presenting sponsor, of course, this week, Srixon Golf. And Srixon Performance is more than just a number. It's a feeling, and one that starts with the Forge. Introducing ZXI irons with iForge, the groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating that's taken Srixon feel to an entirely new level. ZXI irons from Srixon, how Forge should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more and the full lineup of Srixon products. Well, we do hope that you've been enjoying and hearing and watching what we've been bringing you. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media networks, Instagram, X, and Facebook, TikTok, and subscribe to Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, and click that notification bell to make sure that you never miss a single episode of this great podcast. Get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every single day. And be sure to subscribe to the Flagstick Digest newsletter, where we're going to send you this great information 3 times a week direct to your inbox, totally free of charge. As always, we always appreciate you tuning in. But until next week, I'm Jeff Potter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.